And welcome, everybody, to the Geeking Poetic Podcast channel. I'm your host, Larry Roberts, and this spooky specter over here to my right is my co-host, and none other than...
Megan Guess.
And we are here to celebrate Halloween. Yeah, traditionally, we always like to do something for Halloween.
We do.
And we thought this year we would do something a little bit different, but then a little bit familiar. One thing that we haven't done in a while, because, I mean, this is what we started the whole channel on, was our top 5 lists. Mm-hmm. And we realized we hadn't done a top 5 in a little while, and we thought, well, what could we do top 5 for Halloween? Because we've covered a lot of, we've done a lot already. So we thought about it and we said, well, what if we just talk about genres? Like, what is our favorite scary movie, particularly like I'm looking at it like around Halloween time, especially. Like, what is our favorite genres, subgenres, I guess, because you could say scary movies, horror movies are kind of a genre in and of itself, right? So I'm looking at it like, what is my favorite genre, or maybe even, it might even be a better way to say, should we say themes?
Themes, that works.
Yeah, because it's. I realize that some of the things we're going to talk about on here, they're going to transcend different categories, right? Yes. I mean, just a little bit, we were talking about it already. There's things that it's like it might have ghosts in it, but then it might also be, you know, a murder mystery, and it might also be funny. So they all kind of skirt different genres in and of itself. So we're just going to kind of look at themes, and we'll address that there's going to be some crossover there. And I mean, how did you look at it when you were trying to figure out themes? Like, was it hard for you to figure out which ones you were going to narrow it down to?
It really, really was, because like you said, they fit so many different categories. It's like, well, which one do I put this in so I can narrow down which 5 I'm going to go with?
Right.
So it was very difficult.
And another thing I think we should probably address, because I already know you're going to have some, and I will as well. Like, some of these movies aren't necessarily traditionally considered maybe like horror movies. I mean, they're more just the movies we like to watch at Halloween. I mean, there's not going to be anything that's totally like off base. We're not going to bring up like E.T. the Extraterrestrial or something like that. You know, I'm sorry, that's not really a Halloween movie. You could watch it at Halloween. We've discussed that in the past. But no, we still stuck to things that are more suspenseful and spooky, but they're not necessarily going to be your definition of a scary horror movie.
But before we get started, I want to remind everybody to please hit that like button. Make sure you share and subscribe so you get more of our great videos. Yeah,
please do. We appreciate it. But
it helps a lot.
Yeah, it really does. But you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our countdown. I think the best way to do it is that we're just going to go back and forth and do our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, each of us, and then we'll discuss each individual theme, because I already know we're going to have some crossovers. So we'll just talk about it all at once when we get to that particular theme. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do it. So not a whole lot of suspense for you folks at home. You're going to find out what our number 5 to our number 1 is right away, but then
start screaming early.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't agree with us.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know, like, oh, okay, I can click off now. But no, we'll explain, and I do think there's some that we're really going to have to explain where we're coming from with not only why we like it, but how we categorize these. So starting with my number 5. My number 5, right off the bat, is probably going to be controversial for some people, because I know people are going to say, well, that's 2 different themes, that's 2 different categories, but I don't know. I think for me, it managed to fit together pretty nicely, and for me, I'm going with the folk/gothic horror theme.
All right, well, that's a good pick for number 5, and very interesting. I cannot wait to hear what you got.
Okay.
To explain that, how you made it all work together.
We'll see.
My number 5 is I am going with psychological thriller horror movies.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, that's going to be on my list as well.
Oh, okay.
Because that is actually my number 4.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. That's psychological horror. And again, I know some of these are going to seem really broad, so we'll have to explain them when we get to it. But yeah, that works out. That's my number 4. So yeah, what's your number 4 then? Just go right into it.
All right. So my number 4 is I'm going with like religious possession.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are always good ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty creepy.
That's a favorite of mine. Well, okay.
Did it make your list though?
Yeah, you'll see in a minute.
Okay, all right.
So we actually have not that, but we have ghost / paranormal horror.
Yep, that's a good one.
What about your number 3?
So my number 3 is I went with like a mystery thriller horror kind of thing.
Mystery thriller. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
So it's got to have, some suspense and like who done it kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, knowing you, I think I already can think of a couple that are probably going to fit into that category.
Easily, yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay, number 2, what do you got?
All right, well, my number 2 is the aforementioned religious / possession, scary horror, whatever you want to call it, films. Yeah, yep. Some people that know me might have thought that would be number 1.
I know, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I had to really debate about this one. I've been going back and forth about it for days, but ultimately I ended up putting that in number 2 because, well, I'll explain my
Yeah,
reasons.
I'm anxious to see what your number 1 is. So.
Yeah.
All right, so to kind of go back to what you did, my number 2 is actually the ghost paranormal.
Okay.
So.
Yep, and that makes sense because I know.
Again, several of them.
Yeah, I know several that I know.
My favorite ones in that category there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I could think of some of your favorite movies that would fit into that, but that didn't make number 1, huh?
You'll see why in just a moment.
Okay.
I'm anxious. What is your number 1?
Well, my number 1 is I realize again some people are going to say this is pretty broad of a theme here, but I don't know. I think it all fits together quite nicely. I went with classic Universal / Hammer horror. So we're talking the old horror movies from obviously starting in 1931 with Universal's Dracula movie, all the way up through the Dracula and Frankenstein movies that came out in the 60s and the early 70s from England's Hammer horror, So again, yeah, we're looking at all those kind of classic creatures, that sort of thing. The thing you would see on Creature Feature on a Saturday or Sunday, back in the day when I was growing up, because I'm really old.
Okay. Now that I know that makes complete sense.
Okay.
As your number 1.
Okay. What's
Absolutely.
yours? I got to know. What's your number 1?
Well, my number 1 is comedy, thriller, horror.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah. So
Of
that
course.
makes more sense now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Again, some of that crossover into these other things, a lot of them fit this category as well. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of these are going to cross over. I know we're going to bring up movies as examples, and some people are going to sit there and say...
That's not where that belongs.
Right. They'll be like, that's not...
It does for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, we're just doing this. This is just fun. We're just having fun with this. This certainly is not supposed to be like any kind of advisory where people are like, we advise you that this movie should be in this category. No, this is just how they fit in our heads, basically. So, all right, yeah, that's a pretty cool 5-1 there. I like both of ours.
Yeah,
all right,
we only had a couple of crossovers actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's just delve into it. So I'm the only one that mentioned this one, but I'm going to go ahead with it. We'll start with my number 5, the folk / gothic horror. Now, I do realize that for a lot of people, those seem to fit in like different categories, and I guess they do, but I guess the overall theme of it, what I like about it is I like those older period horror stories, scary stories, the things that are set back like in the 1600s, 1700s, the 1800s. You get a lot of that with both of those genres. You've got like the gothic horror stuff, which you could say would be more like Sleepy Hollow or From Hell, or even things, I would even dare say something like Shadow of the Vampire has sort of a gothic horror style to it. I know it's talking about the Nosferatu movie. It's a fictional telling of the story of the making of that movie, which is a little later, but the whole look of it. Why I categorize these two together is they usually have a sort of darkness to them in the way it's like portrayed. It's usually something that's happening either in like a dark old barn or a dark old castle. There's usually a lot of use of subtle like silence and an atmosphere, and it has such an old school vibe to it. It just, that in of itself is like creepy to me. I think about movies like The Witch, which would be more of, I guess you could say, would be more like folk horror. But even that, it has a certain flair to it that is, it's not gothic in terms of what people think of with gothic with, you know, black dresses and black lipstick and Sisters of Mercy concert, that kind of gothic, but it just has that, what I still consider that sort of gothic in its own way, of that it has this old world kind of vibe to it. I'm always like really creeped out about old world stuff. Old school witches, you know, not like modern day type witches, but like the old school witchcraft type stuff. That I love that stuff. I put this in the number 5 category because I feel like there's a lot of movies that do fit into these kind of themes that I still have yet to see.
Okay.
There's ones that I know are very popular, but I haven't seen them yet. So as such, it doesn't rank higher for me. And it's a category that I actually would like to see more of. All right. So your number 5 was my number 4. So we'll just talk about them both together. You had psychological thrillers. So tell me, what is it that made that number 5 on your list?
So these freak me out because it's not like a monster coming to get you or a person that you can physically like touch and like get away from and hide from. It's like this is more like in your mind. It's like you hear things like, but did you really hear it? Or is this really happening? And that freaks me out.
Right. Well, that's a really good point because, I mean, for example, a movie I would put in this category, more firmly in this category than another, would be like The Shining. Mm-hmm. Because I realize that at its core, The Shining is like a ghost story. It's a ghost theme. But
it doesn't say, you know, it's not like in your face ghost. It's more like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly. And the cool thing about that movie is that you go through it not being entirely sure that the things that are happening and are being experienced are actually happening, because there is, I mean, obviously they talk about The Shining. They talk about that, you know, Danny has this ability. Other than him and then his dad, who is just going batshit crazy, you don't really know for a lot of the movie if this is actually happening, because so much of it is only one of them seeing it at a time. The mother never sees it, at least not until the end, and it really isn't revealed until the end that, like, oh yeah, this place is haunted. It's just more about getting into your mind, sort of using your own mind against you to freak you out.
Yes. Yeah. It's the overwhelming feel of dread.
Yeah.
And the emotions, it's like you don't know. You have no idea.
Right.
And that creeps me out.
I would even say another example, bringing up another King thing, would be like Misery. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like an ultra violent movie, although there are a couple of parts in there that get a little violent, but it's not gory. It's not a slasher thing. It's not even really a serial killer thing, but it's like you're just sitting there going through all this, you know, psychological torture along with the main character.
What's he going to have to endure next?
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of where I put like the psychological thriller thing at with it. There's a lot of examples that could actually fit into that. Even maybe things like Hereditary, which, yeesh. Again, while the movies that I really like that fall into that category for me, I really, really like them, but I don't necessarily have as many of them as
other categories.
The other categories, and that's why it's only number 4, and I'm suspecting that's
same.
Yeah, probably the same for you. Exactly. All right, cool. All right, so your number 4 was my number 2. Okay. And we should just talk about it now, I think. Oh boy, I'll have a lot to say about this one. So it is, your number 4, my number 2 was the religious / possession theme in scary movies. Yeah, what do you have to say?
I'll go first since you have.
What draws you towards this one?
So some of my favorite subjects in books have to do with religion.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm kind of drawn to that. It's fascinating. There's so much history wrapped around it, and it lends itself so well to obviously possessions. I mean, it's just, it draws me in every time, and it's not one that I would typically watch by myself. But I do really enjoy them. I typically actually really watch them when I come over to your guys' house, and because I have company, and,
or over at your parents or something.
yeah, something like that, where I'm not all by myself and hear creepy things happening.
I gotcha.
So that's what draws me to those. They're fascinating to me.
Yeah, I find them fascinating as well. I also find them very deeply disturbing. They could be psychological for me as well. So I actually grew up watching a lot of these kinds of movies when I was far too young, really. Psychologically, mentally, I was far too young to be watching these movies. I saw movies like The Exorcist. I saw The Omen. I saw all three Omens, actually, all the way through Final Conflict when I was still in single digits. So
wow.
yeah, I shouldn't have been watching those. My dad had a tendency to let me watch stuff that I really had no business watching. Well, because he didn't think they were that scary. He was more fascinated, I think, by those kind of topics. Whereas, like, to me, they got to my core. I think a lot of it is because I've always just had like a weird vibe when it comes to like religion and religious stuff. Things having to do with possession, things having to do with religious prophecies and demons and all that. And I guess it always really kind of got to me because unlike other things, I mean, even when I was a kid, it was like, I knew that Jason Voorhees couldn't exist. I mean, yeah, sure, a guy could go around hacking somebody up with a blade, but, this guy that had been in the swamp for 30 years or whatever it was at that point and couldn't be killed and was struck by lightning and it made him stronger, like all that kind of silly crap. Like, even as a kid, I was like, okay, I know this isn't real. So even though it was disturbing in its own way, I could be okay with that. But then, seeing movies like The Exorcist, it was like, and especially in that movie, because when I saw that, I was maybe like 7 or 8. And I might have actually been 7. And I saw that, and that movie's happening to a little girl, that was only a few years older than me. So the whole idea of that, and the idea that it's like, oh, well, there's a lot of people that believe this actually happens and this can happen. It was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're telling me all that stuff I just saw in that movie, that could happen? Obviously, there's some people that say, no, there's no way that can happen. But there's a bunch of people that say it can and that it has. And so that's always really gotten inside of me. And there's just something about it that sits in my head and in my psyche in a way that, like, if I watch those movies, even the ones like that I've seen The Exorcist hundreds of times, it still bothers me. It still gets to me. I still have nightmares and all that. And I'm a man in his 50s now. So it ticked a certain box for me. That's why for me, this wound up at number 2. Again, for people that know me and know how bothered I am about this, and at the same time, how much I do it, I like it, because I'm a masochist, I guess. I mean, I guess we all are when we watch movies that terrify us, but people wonder why I wouldn't put that at number 1. And I'll tell you right now, one of the reasons, I'll explain that more when I get to my number 1, but one of the reasons is because I feel like there's, again, a lot of movies in this category, in this genre, that I do really like, but there's also a lot of them that just don't really, I don't think they're very good, or they're a little bit too copycat from one another. There's a lot of really bad possession movies out there. And so because I don't have quite as big of a library of great movies to choose from, that's kind of what helped bump this down to number 2 than number 1 for me.
Gotcha.
Plus, I can only watch Exorcist and stuff so many times because it really messes me. Yeah. It really messes with me. So, it is the one that scares the pants off of me. So, I just, it's my number 2. But yeah, you put it at number 4.
Four.
Huh?
Yeah, kind of the same reason as it's my number 4 because I don't have nearly as many of my go-tos
Right.
within that. I enjoy them. Again, it's mostly every Halloween we pick one and we get it watched.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's-
like The Nun. Like we loved that one.
oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, we loved The Nun, and yeah, it's so that was one we watched. Was it like last Halloween or something like that, or the Halloween before? We watched that was a great example of a religious themed kind of, but then ghostly as well, and all. Yeah,
It's got a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
yeah. And every time we watch them, it's like, I really enjoy that. Why don't I watch these more? And then I just save them for you guys. So
you don't
it's our
watch them
thing
more
now.
because you're too scared to watch them on your own.
Maybe. I have to tell everybody.
I think you already did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
So my number 3, and it was your number 2. Now we're
Switching.
Yeah, we're switching. We're going to talk about your number 2. We just talked about mine. My number 3 and your number 2 was the ghost / paranormal. Now again, I mean, yeah, that's one that you and I definitely share a love of. We love the movies where it has to do with haunted houses, any kind of hauntings, whether we're talking about the Conjuring series, or we're talking about things like Poltergeist, or talking about things like Amityville Horror. Those are all like really good. Of course, you like some of the lighter hearted stuff too, like your Haunted Mansion things,
Beetlejuice.
and Beetlejuice. Yeah, that's a good example. That's a really good one.
Yep. I love them all like that because I don't know. Again, it's fascinating. Are ghosts real or are they not real?
Right.
I've talked about it before on this show. You know, I go and do like these ghost hunts and everything with my mom, and I'll gladly go to a cemetery in the middle of the night. I drive down the roads where they say there's the hauntings and all that, just so I can possibly see something for myself.
I don't know why.
And I did one time.
I was just going to
which
say.
we well documented.
Yeah, I
you
was
should go
gonna
back
say,
and watch that.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a link up here for that. But you recently, like we said, you went to a supposedly haunted place, and you had a very uncharacteristic thing happen to you because Megan is usually, she's not the kind of person that, unless you put a few drinks in her, she's not the kind of person that is super outgoing and does not draw attention to herself. She does not like drawing attention to herself.
Nope, I'm pretty even keel.
Yeah, you are definitely way more even keel than I am, and you went and had a very harrowing experience where something was messing with you.
Yeah, that
Emotionally.
overwhelming sense of dread that we talked about in the prior one. That's what I felt. I felt overwhelming dread and sadness. I can't even explain it. I just wanted to burst into tears. And I was spinning in circles, and my mom had to stop. It messed me up.
Yeah.
That freaked me out. I finished the ghost hunt, and I was fine the rest of the time. But that really, really freaked me out. So
Yeah.
to have that, it just kind of brings it to another level for me, the love of these movies. And is it possible?
Right.
Because after that, it is possible
Yeah.
because that was unusual for me and I cannot explain it. So,
Right. Yeah, so watching those kind of movies, it's like while I watch them and I'm able to just enjoy them as like pure entertainment, and I don't necessarily say like, oh, I believe for sure in ghosts, and I believe in haunted houses, and I believe in all that kind of paranormal stuff that, good and bad. Not everything that's paranormal has got to be bad, I mean, people, it's portrayed in the movies to be like things like Paranormal Activity, where it's, they're terrorizing families and Amityville style stuff. But that's not always the case. And I think in my case, with what I grew up with, I don't think that it was terrorizing. I don't think that it was trying to hurt me. It had plenty of opportunities to do that if that was really there.
that
and
was, yeah.
It's not what happened, but stuff happened nonetheless. Anyway, but yeah, so love them.
Love them, love them.
Okay, Meg, so your number 3 was actually mystery thrillers. Now, explain what you mean by that, because to a certain degree, you could say almost all scary movies are that to a point.
This is more kind of like you're with the detective following him, or like the Poirot's Perot movies. Like there was that new one
Oh, okay.
that us girls all went and watched.
Oh, yeah.
Where there was a murder and it was the Halloween
haunting one,
time,
yeah.
the haunting one, and all that. And then they had to figure out, did she kill herself? Did she not? Did somebody kill her? What happened? And then more people died, and so it was kind of going around with all that. I would put Clue in here as well.
Okay.
It's like that's a comedy, but it's a mystery.
Yeah.
And they're running all over the place. It's like, who done it? Who's going to be the next to die,
To me, when I think of like mystery, thriller, scary movies, I kind of think even like things like Silence of the Lambs, although I know that deals with like a serial killer or serial killers, actually, if you count both of them in there. But I still feel like that's more of like a mystery investigation kind, or movies like Seven is kind of like that. Da Vinci Code, that sort of thing. Sixth Sense, that could be another.
Definitely Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I know you like that one.
All those kind of things where you're going along trying to solve this puzzle of what is really happening here.
And Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. Yep, absolutely.
The ultimate horror mystery kind of thing.
So that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's my jam.
All right. Yeah, that is definitely your kind of thing. You like mysteries and you like that kind of mystery adventure theme. So if you take mystery adventure and you make it scary.
Yes.
So all that's left is my number one. So we're talking about classic Universal / Hammer horror kind of characters and that sort of movie. Basically the movies that came out between the beginning of the 1930s up through like the mid 1970s. And it kind of, again, this is sort of broad because I know it's encapsulating a lot of different characters, but generally we're talking about classic Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, one of my all-time favorite characters, and the various iterations of that came out. But it's those old black and white movies that have a lot of silence, a lot of shadows, has kind of that creepy old school music behind it. Of course, it had all the classic actors like Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr., Boris Karloff, so on and so forth. I love that stuff at Halloween time because to me, growing up, that was classic Halloween. I grew up in the early 70s, so before it became like normal in the 80s and on, where Halloween got associated with your Jasons and your Freddy Kruegers and your Michael Myers. For me, I still got the tail end of the classic horror stuff. And then, to me, it got carried on and taken to the next level by Hammer out of England when they had, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee just playing these incredible versions of Dr. Frankenstein, incredible versions of Dracula, and so on. I love those movies because they just, to me, in my head, that is everything that classic Halloween was built upon. No matter all these other movies that are in my list, they're all great. But if I don't watch at least some of those classic movies, I feel like I just missed out on something. I want to sit there and just experience that because that just takes me right back to what I feel like the true vibe of Halloween is for me. All right, Meg. So I think all we're left with now is your number one. And yours was comedy horror. Of course it was.
Of course it is. Again, kind of like you with the creature features, I don't feel Halloween is Halloween without some laughs at Halloween.
Yeah.
The expense, this is specifically where I put Beetlejuice at.
Right. Okay.
This is exactly where Tucker and Dale versus Evil belongs too.
That is definitely
I was
comedy
giving it
horror.
a stretch earlier, but this is really where it belongs.
Yes.
Death Becomes Her,
Okay. Yep.
Silly, the Addams Family, all these silly things.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Addams Family.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They are quintessential Halloween, Hocus Pocus.
Right.
All these silly little kid movies and stuff like that. That's me. I'm all for that. If
Haunted
I really
Mansion.
Haunted Mansion,
Yeah.
yeah, that could fit in here. That's one of my favorite all-time movies. No matter what time of year, I watch that thing like a gazillion times a year.
You just do. Yeah.
But if I want something a little more morbid and dark, I go for something like Zombieland.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Zombieland that's a great example of a really good comedy.
I'm not a big gore and slasher kind of girl, but that one cracks me up.
Yeah.
So
that's a great
with
movie.
it. So, yeah, if I'm going to go zombie, that's what I'm going to go for. Again, I'm by myself here. And if I want some horror and stuff with it and some scary stuff, you better mix in some comedy in there because I got a lot of little critters running around here. Yeah. I just got another one. Mm-hmm. I'm up to 6 of these little critters now. And they like to run around all over the place, make weird noises, and jump on top of me at the most inappropriate times and go flying across the room. So,
she's talking about cats.
Yes, cats. I need a little break in the tension there from freaking me out a little bit. So.
Understandably. I'm the opposite of you. It's like when it's the comedic ones, I'd rather watch that in a setting where all of us are laughing at it. If I'm going to sit down and watch something on my own, I'm probably going to watch one of the other ones like I mentioned, like something that's going to get in my head and mess me up, and then I'm going to
complain about it and be all curmudgeon about it.
Yeah, I'm going to exactly
yep, that's about right.
Because I'm an idiot. But anyway, we encourage people at home to like let us know what are your favorite genres and themes that you go for, that's like your main go for thing, the thing that is going to really grab you. If you see a movie and is coming out and it says that it's this type of movie, if it's psychological horror or if it's paranormal horror or found footage or whatever, what are the ones that really grab you? I'm sure people are going to be surprised that we didn't list anything that's like slasher horror. You know what? I'm not going to say I don't like any of it. I think that the Halloween series has some great stuff in it with Michael Myers, that whole thing. I think that's the best one personally. I enjoyed some of the Friday the 13th series and, Nightmare on Elm Street, especially when I was a kid. I mean, I loved it. I saw those movies at the theater. A lot of the slasher stuff though, I don't know. I'm not like particularly scared or entertained by watching like some guy go around and like murder a bunch of people just kind of willy-nilly, like it, I know some people are. I know some people really get off on it and they're really, and they love the special effects of it and everything. It just doesn't really do anything for me. I'm just like, okay, I just watched for like 2 hours. I just watched this guy like murder a whole camp of teenagers. What was the point, And sometimes this point and the reason is decent, but a lot of times I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't watch movies like that I don't watch movies with Candyman or Freddy or Jason or anything like that makes me go, like I don't really ponder it. I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. And again, people like that, but that's fine. I don't have anything against it. It's just not for me. That doesn't really do it for me. And then when it gets into the really, really gory stuff, like I'm not into that. I don't really like a lot of blood. I can really respect the art behind it, the people that make it, the special effects people, and
Tom theatrics.
Yeah, Tom Savini, all that kind of stuff. I do love like classic zombie type stuff. I love the old Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I think those are classics. They're masterfully done. I do enjoy a lot of that stuff, but I don't like enough of that as a genre that it could have made my top 5. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like Night of the Living Dead would be in like my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. But I can't sit there and say that like the zombie gore kind of genre would be in my top 10.
We want to know your top 5s.
Yes,
Share
we do.
them with us, please.
Yes. Make sure you leave comments down below, whether you're watching or listening to us. We really appreciate it. And we hope everybody has an awesome and safe but fun Halloween season. And we'll be back soon with more stuff. We'll see if we do anything for Turkey Day. We usually do something for these holidays, for Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, or for, Christmas holidays, winter holidays, all that stuff. We'll be back soon with more things. So anyway, go pig out on some candy and some nachos or something and go watch a good scary movie. We'll see you again soon, everybody.
Bye, guys.